Here is Nick Clegg. This guy used to be...
He was the leader of the Liberal Democrats when they went in with the Tories with David Cameron like 10 years or so ago.
Very Clintonian in many ways.
Oh, and so this makes total sense that this is his current position in
Absolutely.
life.
I mean, this is like, this is the equivalent of like, who are those Obama guys that go and work for
Facebook or Uber?
Facebook or Uber and...
Jay Carney
Pluff.
went to work
Pluff,
for... Right.
Pluff, Carney.
Carney went to work for Uber?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Amazon. Amazon, sorry. Yeah, there we go. He's it's the same kind of guy.
And, kudos to Brian Stetler, for asking a question that apparently Nick Clegg did not think he would get on CNN. Here is that exchange right now. And this is fascinating. He's he was not expecting this question, that he couldn't come up with anything to differentiate Facebook from tobacco and smoking cigarettes, that he basically just made the case even further for these things being very similar.
Big brain.
And a part of me feels like I'm interviewing the head of a tobacco company right now. A part of me feels like I'm interviewing the head of a giant casino that gets rich by tricking its customers and making them addicted. The big tobacco comparison is everywhere right now. And how do you feel about those comparisons to big tobacco?
I think they're profoundly false.
Why?
I mean, I understand, of course, well, because I don't think it's remotely like tobacco. Social media apps, they're apps. People download them on their phones, and why do they do that?
Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. I just want to help folks here, because this is getting pretty deep. Facebook is not like tobacco, because Facebook is an app that's on your phone, whereas tobacco is not.
I like that part, because Stelter goes, well, I mean, how is it different? How are these apps? Well, because it's an app. Well, that was already said in the question that preceded that answer.
Right.
It's like it gets into the elevator pitch mode for it.
Exactly. I wonder if Stelter was going, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you smoked these websites. Okay, fair enough.
Sometimes you gum it.
But here he goes. Here he's coming with the thing that really differentiates it. Unlike tobacco, cigarette smoking, which, of course, as you know, is around the world and addicts people from every society, Facebook is different because...
like tobacco. Social media apps, they're apps. People download them on their phones, and why do they do that? There has to be a reason why a third of the world's population enjoys using these apps. They do it because they like exchanging their views, their feelings, their experiences.
And I admit that I enjoy using Instagram. I admit that. But I also feel the tug of an addiction. Don't you feel the addiction?
Well, that's why we need to make sure that people are not being drawn towards bad experiences. That's why, and I gave you a very good example earlier, I think in the past it is true there was more hate speech on Facebook than there should have been. We applied a huge amount of resources and research. And by the way, let me give you one very simple reason why this is such a misleading analogy.
Oh, I found
people who pay our lunch are advertisers. Advertisers don't want their content next to hateful, extreme, or unpleasant content.
I see what's going on there. It's different because our business model is different. Our business model is different. We weren't sponsors on the side of a cigarette box, so it can't be the same. It would have been nice to say, no, let me explain to you the concept of a metaphor.
Well,
I am suggesting that your product is addictive and causes bad things to happen in people.
In a mass kind of way.
In a mass way that is around the world. The reason why people want to use this is the same reason why people wanted to smoke cigarettes. Because if they liked it, and they wanted more of it, and more of it, and more of it, and more of it, and more of it.
Right. I mean, I enjoyed his attempt to tread water with the, first of all, it's an app.
It's an app. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. It's an app.
It's not a smokable plant, right? But
Facebook begins with an F. Tobacco begins with a T. So it's not the same thing.
And we make our money off advertisements, and tobacco was never involved in any advertising whatsoever. So can't you... Oh, shit. Damn it, I stepped in it again.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, not even prepared at all.
It was really surprising that he was like that caught off guard.
He's never been asked a question about the addictive properties of social media. I mean, that's the number one concern for a lot of specifically parents right now.
People come into that situation with like, I've been a major political figure. I'm not worried about Brian Stetler asking me a question I can't answer.
Facebook is actually tar-free, Brian.
Oh, excuse me, Brian. Where's the filter? Do you think we have filters on Facebook? Oh, okay.
It's
Shoot.
people.
No, that I'm gonna say that.
You think it's giving people cancer, Brian? What kind of fool are you?
Do you really think our advertisers want to be next to hate speech? Well, I mean, dude, then how did this problem start in the first place?
I mean, apparently found.
Oh, we didn't tell them. Oh, well, sorry.
Oh, and it's going to continue. We'll have a menthol Facebook, and that will solve everything.
Advertisers do not care if they're next to hate speech at all. If they look at people looking at their ads, what they care about is people knowing that they're next to hate speech.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yes. I mean, do you think that they're actually, these advertisers are paying attention to the content if it's actually effective and gets them clicks and gets them, money?
Oh my God.
They're only going to care if there's blowback about it. But because there's this intermediary and there's this third party where Facebook is the one that's kind of, their algorithm is providing money for them, they have cover. So it doesn't, like, Facebook is actually a huge win for advertisers that want to make money on the cheap a little bit covertly with hate speech, because they'll take all the public flack and their algorithm will privately determine how their advertisements are reached to people. And then they can say, well, we didn't know, we worked with Facebook and we didn't know that they were putting our ads in front of hate speech. So it's actually a great situation for a lot of advertisers.
Oh my God. I mean, the amount of times that like places like Google and Facebook they don't care. They don't care at all. And like you say, it's just a matter of blowback. Brian, for us to believe that, we would have to believe that some major platform like AOL built itself on pedophilia. Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine?
Well, that's also what they're finding with some of this stuff with Facebook, right? With child trafficking. How Zuckerberg and the executives were aware of some of these things. That's what the whistleblower is claiming. So,
I mean, of course.
And they were okay with these monetizations. So it's almost like the heads of Facebook are also these vampires who are able to just completely compartmentalize. And as long as they're making money, just like the people we sell advertisements to, no one gives a shit.
Slappy Tubbs on IM, you kept saying the word Facebook, and I started jonesing. Finally had to check it. Facebook. Jesus, would you stop?
You know what's crazy is I don't check Facebook anymore, and I didn't make a decision to do this. There were times in my life where I'm like, I need to cut back on this, but I just don't check it anymore.
I don't even know how to. Like I don't even know how to operate my Instagram. That occasionally I can see. I had to find out like there was but Facebook I never got into.
It's crazy. Like I went into it recently for some left reckoning business, and I know people talk about the changes and how confusing they are, but it's a bizarre website at this point.
I can't. I can't operate any of these things, honestly.
Yeah, I can't. I don't.
I won't expend the mental energy to learn. I know that I could, but I just don't care. Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.